Alright, hello everyone. So this is Haven Ditko, and I was asked to do a tutorial on the new materials, which really aren't so new anymore. They've come a long way since we were first able to do them in Second Life. What this tutorial is going to be, though, is going to be the very beginning of it. I'm going to show you really simply how to create the textures or that you're going to need to do new materials inside of Second Life. I should have an advanced alphas course coming out very soon, so we'll keep an eye for that. But for right now, let me show you what we've got. I am going to give you a link for this folder right here. It's called Gimp Bumping, and it is a zip file, so you'll have to unzip that. This is also for people working on a PC. I do know that the Macs take this, but you have to kind of finesse a little bit one of them. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I don't have a Mac, and it's been a while, but if you have a Mac and you have issues with this, contact me inworld, and I will help you get the answer for that. So anyways, when you unzip Gimp Bumping, this is what you get inside of it. You get 3 more zip files, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go to the actual bump bin, which is this one right here, and we're going to unzip that one. In there you have 3 files. These 3 files, you're going to select them all, and you can copy paste them, or you can left click and drag them down, and we're going to drag them into our computer, our program files, and the GIMP 2 folder, where you'll see a bin folder. So you'll just take all of these and drag them down to that bin and drop them. Mine's already done, so I'm not going to drag them a second time. That's the first one. When you get that one done, whoops, I went back too far. We're going to go ahead and do the bump plugins. In this one, you have 2, Insane Bump and Normal Map exe. You're going to drag these 2 into Program Files, GIMP. You're going to go to the library, to GIMP, to 2.0, and drag them into that plugins folder. Okay? And when you get that one done, you'll do the third one, which is bump modules. You will take these 2 and you will drag or copy paste them into program files, GIMP 2, library, GIMP 2.0, and modules. Alright? And if you want to take a screenshot or you want to freeze the screen right now, I have them all written here where each of those go. It's important that you put these into the program files GIMP and not the users GIMP, okay? Because users GIMP isn't the same as the program files GIMP. So make sure you go that route. When this is all said and done, anywhere on your computer that you're going to want to, create a brand new folder. I simply called mine GIMP Rows because I'm going to be using a rose for this demonstration. In that folder, you want to place the image that you're going to use. Now, when we use our plugins in GIMP, it's going to generate a bunch of images, and it will generate them wherever the original image came from. So if this image is just on the desktop and not in a folder, you're going to get a bunch of images spewed all over your desktop. So make sure that you have it in a folder somewhere. Alright? Well, when these are all where they need to be, all of those files and extensions and applications and such, go ahead and open your GIMP. If it was opened, close it and reopen it now. When you get that reopened, we do not want to add a new image or anything like that, we want to go to File and Open. Alright, File and Open. Okay, so when you get there, go ahead and make your way to the image. And mine is not showing up. Give me 1 second. Let me drag it here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the rose, and it'll open up inside of your Gimp. Okay, so when it opens up, you're going to want to make a copy of this. Let me fix my thing here. It always shows up on array. Okay, so when you get your image in there, and you should start with the image the size that you want it to be. So scale it up, scale it down to fit whatever you like. Come into this little layers panel and choose to duplicate this layer and then hide that bottom layer. We only need the one showing. The first thing that we're going to do is create a specular map. I'll show you how a specular map works inside of Second Life in a minute. For now, let's just create one. So we're going to go to Filters, Map, and Insane Map. You'll notice that this wasn't here in your Gimp before. It's there now. That's one of the plugins we added. When this opens up, we want to make sure that we do a few things. Most definitely, you can play around with some of the other settings if you like to, but for tile, we want to turn that off. We don't want this tile, and we don't really have to have a preview for it, and we do not want to invert the height map. The rest of them you can play with as you use this program more often. And then simply click OK and let Gimp do its thing. So you'll see a bunch of different things change over here. There's lots of them. But when it's done, you will see something kind of cool. This This ends up being our specular map. It is a black to white gradient of grays forming the image that we just had. And these brighter whites will reflect more light inside of Second Life than these dark black areas will. And because as the object moves or light moves around the object, these different areas will actually capture that light, helping to give a really 3D look, or adding to the 3D look. Okay, so what we need to do now is this blank layer that shows up, we can just drag that down to the garbage can. We don't need that. We're going to go ahead and, 1 second. Okay, so after the specular map is made, you can go ahead and turn that specular one invisible so you don't see it. And all you're left with is the one that you were using. Now, you don't have to really do anything with this copy. I just always like to make a copy of my work before I do anything, in case any of my mapping doesn't work as I expected. So now with this one here, if you look at it, it's exactly the same as that one, so it doesn't really matter. But if you take this one now, and you go to Filters and Map, and this time go down to Normal Map, you're going to get this menu pop up. On this menu, the only thing that you really want to think about or work through when you begin working with normal maps is the filter that we're going to use. You can check them all out, but I found that the Sabal 3x3 actually works the nicest, and you can see it here in this window. If you want a better look at this, you can click the 3D preview, and when you click that window, you get this window pop up. Now you don't see anything yet. With this button up here selected, you can click on your object or in your background, and you can rotate this. And as you rotate it, do you see how it's showing you the way that the normal map is making the flat plane here look as if it's on there? And you can actually even change what you're going to be using this on to kind of get a better idea of how that normal mapping might look on your object. This one is a little bit harder to see, but it's there. Let's see if I can get a good view of it. Not really. Okay, so anyways, yeah, this, if I go to quad here, oh, it keeps disappearing on me. You can get a really good thing. And if you want, you can click on the light bulb, and you can move the light around so you can see it better in case you don't get a good angle at looking at this. Of course, there are different things that you can also adjust on here, but you really don't need to do any of that. This is just a preview window. So go ahead and close this, and of course by previewing that here, you can check these different ones and see how it changes what you're going to get. You can see 7x7 is really a faint effect. So like I said, I like the Sabal 3x3. To me, that gives us the best option. And after you get that done, go ahead and click OK. And it changes that image into the actual normal map. Now, how this is read, let me see if I can move these around a little bit. I'll have to use my arrow here. Okay, so how this is read is that where it's darker pink, it's saying that there is an edge here. And the light's going to hit it from this direction, and over here it's trying to give you depth on the other side. The blues and the purples are on the bottom. You can see that each direction basically has its own color. And the darker these colors are, the more depth it'll appear to have inside of Second Life. Sometimes, I think this, like I said, is a really good effect. It works great on things, but let's say you have something that you want a whole lot of this depth to what you're doing. You want the depth of the insides to come out more. Maybe you want the depth of this veiny area to come out more. A really easy little tip that you can do is create a duplicate of this normal color, a normal map. And on this normal map, change the mode of it from normal in the layers panel here, change it to grain merge right down here. And it will merge the grains of the two of them basically. It's a lot more technical than that, but basically what it does is it magnifies, or it enhances the grain. And if you find that still isn't enough, just simply duplicate the layer that's already been changed into grain merge. And you'll see as you duplicate it more and more and more, you get more and more of the veinage and the detail coming out for you. You can see how much brighter and thicker these pinks and these greenish aqua colors are. The darker blue is much thicker, of course, and it started to pick it up a whole lot on the inside. So I don't really need all of these. I'll find, if I want to have like at least one put together here, what I'll do with these ones off, because I don't really want to use these ones, when I get these two done, I'll do right click and new from visible, and now it made an image of those two, so I can turn those off if I wanted to. Now what I have to do is I have to export this one. This one I don't have to worry about, and I'll show you that in a minute, but this one I need to. So you go to File and Export. There we go. File and Export, and it brings up the folder that you got the rose image out of. Here's the rose image. All of these ones are ones that were added from the actual insane filter that we used. And these are the ones that would have been just spread all over your computer. Remember, I said if you didn't have them in a folder, they'd be everywhere. So that's all of those. So what I'm going to do is this normal map that I want to use, I'm just going to call in here and I'm going to change the name of it to Rose Normal. So I know that that's the one that I made, because you'll see all these other types of images in there. And then when you go ahead and hit export, and I just go ahead and stick with the defaults and click export again and wait for it to save. And so now I can go into Second Life and I can use these. So let me get over there. Okay, so here we are inside Second Life, and what I've done was I have got just a cube here, and I went into the texture tab on the cube. I clicked on the texture window right here, and I'm just going to use temporaries for now. So I click on local and add, and that I can pull up the folder where I've got my rose images. So I'll just click on Rose D. Doesn't really matter which one I use. I can use the Rose PNG here. And click on Open. And you'll see that that gets loaded. Well, since I have this open, I'm going to go ahead and hit Add again. Hopefully Second Life won't crash. And it did. I will be right back. Okay, so I am back. Of course, the one time it crashes, right? Since I'm already here with my texture window open, I'm going to go ahead and hit Add again. And this time I'm going to pick my rose image and open that as well. My specular map one. And I will open Add, and I will add the normal map that I made. You can see I don't really care for these normal maps that were generated from the Insane map, but here's the one that I made by merging those two together, and I'm going to go ahead and open that. So in this one, these are going to be temporary textures, which mean you'll see them because they're on my screen, but normally if anybody else were to see these in the world, they would just look gray. Okay, so in the texture diffuse here, this is where your normal texture goes. So I will just click on Rose, and here we go, and I will click OK. Now you can see that I've got 2 repeats there and 2 there, so I'll just change those repeats to 1. The next thing I'm going to do is come into where it says Texture Diffuse, and this time I'm going to turn on the bumpiness. So with the bumpiness on and clicking on the texture window, I can come into my local and I can choose the normal. This is the one that we made. It's the bumpiness. So click on that and hit OK. Now you might not see so much what's going on, but if I were to take this normal texture and go back to texture diffuse and change this to maybe the default wood, you just move this, you can see that it's flat. There's no image there, it's just the wood, but you can see it looks like it's got the outline there, like it's actually engraved or carved in there. So let me go ahead and add that rose back in, and local rose. Okay, now when you go here, the last pull down or item in the pull down is shininess specular. So in here we put the specular map, and this is the one that works with the light. So local and the A here, and click OK. Okay, so now the light doesn't look like it's done anything, right? Well, let me go ahead, and I have a light set up here. And you should be able to see that light reflecting. Oh, Let me get in closer here. I wish we had freeform on this, but unfortunately we don't. We have to use the grid or the arrows. You can kind of see how it picks up different light in different areas. You move it a little closer. Do you see how it does that? Where they're brighter in the actual white material. So I have another example here. Maybe if we turned on nighttime, you can see how it's picking up the detail there. It's a little bit hard to see. I'm wondering if I have my features set okay here. I think that's pretty good actually. Let me close that. Alright, so let's go ahead and let me get one more image out real quick. Okay, so another picture that I have is this desaturated rose. It's the same rose, but I just turned it into a black and white, took the color out. If I take this and put this on the image, it's really nice. But what we can also do is go in here on the edit window, and in this texture area, the color that's down here, not the color of the prim, but this color, we can change to maybe pink. And you'll see now that in some of the darker areas, the mid-tones, you can get this to have a color to it as well. So that's kind of fun to have. And again, it should work. You should be able to see it better with the light than we can actually see it right now. And I'm wondering actually if that might be because I'm using temporary textures. But anyways, yeah, this will really make it pop out. Makes it look more 3D. You can kind of see it over here a little bit nicer than you can on this one with the highlights along the edges and stuff. Anyways, that's it for the basics of the new materials, the ability to put normal and specular maps and stuff. Like I said, it's come quite a bit of ways from this, the initial parts of it. So I'll see if I can't get together something a little more advanced. So if you've already got this part down pat, there'll be something to look forward to later on. Anyways, keep subscribing and liking the videos if you like them. Leave comments or contact me if you have any questions. And happy creating!